Hi, my name's Matt Locke, and this is the Everyday Athlete vlog, the vlog for the everyday athletes around the world who refuse to be average and who want to create a legacy of health, fitness and achievement in every aspect of their lives. I'm glad you're here, and once again, it's time to forge your future.
You ready? No, it's all good. That can be our start. Felicity, welcome back. It's great to have you back on the Everyday Athlete podcast.
Thank you for having me again.
And I will edit it so that we do get that very natural beginning, because we were having a bit of a laugh and a joke off camera, so to speak. But no, it's great to have you back. Thank you very much. And today we're going to talk a little bit about life after your career as a professional swimmer. When you brought home 2 gold medals at the Olympics, and you corrected me last time, 3 world records, not 2. Hey, you earned them, so I'd have done the same thing. But before we kick on, just in case, for those who haven't listened to the first episode with you, and if you haven't, I suggest you do, because you'll get to hear the story up until this point, and you'll get to hear the background for Felicity. But nonetheless, just give us a 30 to 60 seconds, Felicity, of, your background and who you are.
Sure. So I'm Felicity Lemke, formerly known as Felicity Galvanized. Used to be a professional swimmer for over 10 years. Went to 2 Olympics, 2004 Athens, 2008 Beijing Olympics, where I won, like Matt said, 2 Olympic gold medals. And now I own my own gym here in Canberra and have a beautiful family with 2 little girls. So that's my new life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Awesome. And today we're going to take a deep dive into when you took the plunge to starting your own business. Sorry, it's appalling, isn't it? Sorry.
I'm going to say it really clearly so that we all I see what I'm doing here.
But, there we go. No. So life after being a professional athlete, I mean, we heard last time quite what it involves, and I mean, it was really something, as it is for, I guess, all professional athletes. But nonetheless, how was it transitioning out of that? So you obviously left on a high with your gold medals and world records, and how did you arrive at the decision to step away from your career in swimming at that level?
Yeah, well, it's quite an interesting one. I went to our 2008 Olympic trials. We'll backtrack. So 2004, I went to that Olympics for an individual swim, so the 200 butterfly. And then obviously 4 years later, you want to be able to hit that same event again and then hopefully come out with a medal. I went into that trials with the best prep I'd ever done. I'd never trained so hard. I hadn't swum, I was swimming up to 70K a week in the pool. I did everything. Like I literally, some days I would get home and the only thing that didn't hurt were like my eyelashes. Like I couldn't put the handbrake down in the car some days because I was stuffed. But then so I went into our Olympic trials in 2008 and I just put too much pressure on myself. You already go into these trials and, there's a lot of spotlights on everyone and there's a lot of pressure as it is. I just overthought it and swam my trying to fly and came third. Third is normally a really good outcome, but not at our trials. Only top 2 qualify. So that meant that I didn't gain that spot for the trying to butterfly to the Olympics. But obviously I gave myself some other opportunities with adding some more events into our trials. And so hence why I then came third in the 100 butterfly, which I was really happy about. And that got me a spot to do the heats for the 4x1 medley relay. And I also qualified for the 4x2 freestyle relay. So, but coming out of that, there was a point where, I was devastated and I didn't think that I'd qualified and almost threw the towel in to say, there's a good pun for you, Matt. You'd like that one. See what I did there? But yeah, I almost gave it up and I'd started hating the sport. I think because of the workload, and I'm sure a lot of athletes that would be listening to this have been through a moment where they've done everything possible and they haven't got the outcome they would have wanted. And it's devastating and it does make you rethink, do I actually want to do this anymore? Do I want to put my body under this much strain all the time? Anyway, they announced the team on the last day and I was more surprised than everyone to have qualified. So that I had to rechange my mind frame because all of a sudden I was going to an Olympics when I thought I'd missed. And then I had a world short course coming up 4 weeks after our trials, which, you know, I was kind of excited about. I love short course. And I kind of said to my husband, I was like, you know what? I haven't trained this hard for nothing. I'm not going to just go and not care. But I also changed my attitude with a lot of my racing post that Olympic trials. I went in and I thought, you know what, I'm going to have fun when I race. Everything else, training isn't fun. It's hard work. The racing side of it needed to be fun. So that was one of the first meets. And this was towards the end of my career that I all of a sudden clicked. And I went over to Manchester and swam at World Short Course and came away with 2 individual world records, 4 gold medals, 2 silver and a bronze. The best Australian swimmer that's ever swum at a short course meet. Only because I went out and I smiled before every one of my races and I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to have fun. I'd done the work, so I didn't need to worry about that. It was just about letting it happen. And I know athletes that would be listening to this would be like, I get what she's saying. You've just sometimes got to, you know, we've said it, you know, just send it. Just let it happen, but enjoy the process of letting it happen. So that carried me on after that meet because I swam so well and I had, you know, reignited that fire in me to keep going, and then swam for another 2 years. But then I knew coming up to the end of 2010, I'd done Commonwealth Games in Dubai, in Delhi, and swam okay, didn't swim great, but then knew I had World Short Course in Dubai and I loved it and I wanted to replicate the same kind of meet that I had in Manchester 2 years ago before that. And I knew that was in my heart. I knew that was going to be my last meet. So I said to my husband, fly over, watch me swim. This will be it. I promise I won't drag you through any more meets and any more anxiety. So yeah, look, I left there and I did say to him, I will not leave here until I have one of those gold medals individually around my neck. So thank God I did, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be here. So that was it. For me, I just knew I didn't have the passion for it anymore. I had the ability. I was swimming the fastest I'd ever swum up to the day I retired. But setting the alarm clock, getting out of bed and doing the hard work, I resented it. I didn't love it. Yeah, okay. I made it harder for my coach than anything, just asking why we had to do it, whinging and moaning a bit like my kids do to me now. So I just thought, well, I'm going to give that opportunity to someone that actually really wants it, because there was one moment, a lot of the time in my career where I really wanted it, and I had the opportunity to do what I loved. So that was the moment I gave
So
that.
it was just time. You just knew it was time. Yeah, sure. And of course, you've gone on to, as we've mentioned already, you've opened your own gym in Canberra called Galvanized Fitness. How's that been? I mean, from going from being a professional athlete to opening and starting your own business. Talk us through it. Enjoyed it so far?
The biggest transition for me wasn't starting my own business. For me, it was going from, athletes are super selfish, and you have to be. You have to devote 90% of your life to doing everything you possibly can to be the best athlete or the best whatever on the day. And then for me, transitioning from being an athlete to then being a mum, where you have to be the most unselfish, everything is about this child, the role, it's just a total role reversal. So, I had my firstborn, Sophia, and everyone would be ringing going, how's the baby? And I was like, what about me? Like, why is no one asking about me? I went from everyone going, how are you? How's your prep? How are you feeling? Everyone asked about me, to then no one really gave a shit about me, and it was all about this baby that, was just crying all the time. So it was a huge transition from athlete to mum life. Yeah. So then transitioning into opening up my own business was almost not too bad. It was almost going back into an athlete life where I could afford to be a little bit more selfish and put my heart and soul into something that I really wanted to make work. Yeah. A lot of time has gone into it, but I love it. I love that I can now give back and find amazing things in people that they don't believe that they could have done. That gives me such job satisfaction every single day.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. And having met a number of your members and competed alongside them and trained alongside them, it's clear that they are very, very fond of you, and it's clear that you absolutely just get the best. I was going to say drag the best out of people, but I don't think you do drag it out. You naturally bring it to the surface by virtue of who you are and how you approach training. So, how would you describe your gym? Yeah, it's not a CrossFit gym, but functional fitness oriented.
Yeah, look, it is. It's definitely not CrossFit. It's functional. So my biggest thing, I mean, our motto is making people stronger. So stronger for some people is just being able to lift their shopping from their boot of their car into their house. Someone might be, they want to be strong because they want to be able to do 10 chin-ups in a row. Everyone's got their goals, but it is functional. So I've got, the average age for our clientele within our gym space is probably mid-40s. And, they're not elite athletes. We've got some...
Sorry, are you having a poke at me at this point? Is that aimed at me? Or?
Yeah. No.
You have to speak up. I can't hear you very well. I'm mid-40s,
But, it's not about being the best in the gym. We don't have any egos in the gym. One of the biggest things is we're just trying to build a community that support each other through our fitness goals. And it's something that I'm really, really proud of, because I've had so many people come through our doors going, wow, this is something that we haven't ever experienced. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I'm different to what else is out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you are. And you certainly put me through my paces when I was there. And so certainly, again, we're recording this at a time when COVID-19 is upon us. As you mentioned already, that's changed nearly everything for most of us. How's that been for you? How have you transitioned so far? It's still only, 3 or 4 weeks in. And of course, we don't know how long the new norm will be the new norm. But anyway, we deal with it one day at a time. But how's that been for you?
It's been a bit of a roller coaster, and I think most people would agree. But it's kind of gone, it's been quite funny. We kind of knew it was coming on, and so I was cleaning the gym more than I cleaned my own house. Like, I would have eaten off the floor at the gym, but I wouldn't eat off the floor in my own house. So I went through a phase of cleaning everything, being really diligent, more so than ever, just so clients would feel really comfortable still coming to the gym, because there wasn't any bans at that point on doors closing or what you could do. So that was a really big thing. We stopped doing partner workouts so that people were spaced. And then we got told the news of closing the doors. So that was fine, because we could still train in groups, smaller groups and outside. I had a great space outside, so we comfortably kind of transferred into that. And then within a week, that all got turned on its head, and then we could only go to one-on-one training. So I think I'm blessed in the fact that I've got amazing support in clients that have got my back through this, and they actually want to see me come out the other side, and they want to see Galvanized Fitness past COVID-19. So I quickly transitioned into taking on one-on-one clients, and then I desperately wrote to you going, help me, I need you to teach me Zoom. I need to set this up. How do I do it? And I was frantic, and this was past the point of when I had my mini meltdown. I think, and I'm sure men need to do it too, but as females, I think we need a moment where we just lose our shit, we cry, we have that hour or two to really let it go. And then I felt like I had a clearer head, and I could just sort out what I had in front of me. And as much as it looked like chaos, because I had all my clients going, what are we going to do? How are we going to train? And they were anxious about it too. And I felt like I was just being strong for everyone and going, it'll be fine, I'll sort it, I'll get back to you, I'll let you know. Telling my kids that I'm now homeschooling, which is totally out of control, that's okay and we'll be fine. And, trying to juggle working from home with my husband as well. And this is where I just flipped it, because I got the timetable from the girls' school going, and from 9 o'clock to this is when maths is on. And I was like, what? This is not, how am I meant to work and teach my kids everything they need to know? So I think that was like the needle in the haystack that really broke me. But we've kind of got into a bit of a routine. You've taught me Zoom, so we're Zooming all over the place now. I've got a good little setup in the garage.
You have. You've got a great setup in the garage. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's working well, and it's quite beautiful. I've got a big screen TV there where I've hooked everyone. They're all up there, and it's quite nice. Before we start class, they're all like, "Hi, Daryl. Hi, Richard." And they're all saying hi to each other, and they have this little moment where they all talk. And then I'm like, "Righto, we've got 40 minutes. Let's get this done." So they're great, and the feedback's been so positive.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was chatting with Alethea earlier, we both came to the conclusion that we can't help but feel that actually this has caused an even greater connection because it's more deliberate. It has to be.
Yeah.
I think we've become perhaps a little bit complacent when we all rock up at the gym, and we had taken that for granted. And now it requires a bit more thought and determination to maintain those connections, and in some way that makes it even more valuable, even closer, even though it's digital. If that makes sense. And it certainly sounds like that's a similar experience for yourself with your members.
Yeah, absolutely. It has brought everyone together, and I've been doing little posts on our Instagram going, with me in front of the screen or whatever. And the people that haven't been involved all of a sudden want to be involved because they almost, I think, feel that they're missing out on an opportunity to not only do a workout, which helps, physically and mentally, but be in touch with that network that they were in touch with daily. They feel part of this family that we've created, and they don't want to miss out.
Yeah, absolutely. And certainly I've had a few comments, certainly CrossFit Jervis Bay, where Ned and I train, same story there, it's Zoom and so on. And a couple of people have said quite clearly to me that they appreciate it because that time at the gym with their gym mates, that's what sets them up for the day and keeps them sane. And actually, one of the guys actually said, when I train on my own at home, he said, after a while, it feels like the walls of the garage are just closing in a little bit. And certainly we're all making a really conscious effort around the topic of mental health to make sure that, everyone's all good. And I guess certainly you may have heard or read the phrase I've been using more recently, I'll leave no one behind. And I think that's the point, and really paying attention to who's not on the Zoom call, who's suddenly just stopped turning up. And being deliberate and then reaching out to them just to make sure they're okay. There may be a reason, but well, there will be a reason, but it might not be a great reason. But it doesn't take a lot, but it takes a determination to be conscious of that and to be aware of that. So I find it fascinating. It's like a massive social experiment, isn't it? And I wonder how much of what we're now doing digitally, how much of that will either stick and become part of the new business model, or will everyone just revert to business as usual, which might be okay as well. But I can't help but feel that some opportunities will come up out of this.
I agree. It's something I've actually thought of. It's maybe just, and it's probably opened the eyes up to your clients as well that are now doing this, going, actually, I've got a little bit more time in my life. So if I don't want to turn up to the gym every day, maybe I can do some gym sessions where I'm there, and then some of it can be done online in my own backyard, involve my kids, whatever it is. So it's definitely something I've thought of as well, and it's just trying to find the time then, if you go back to your normal ways, how do you then continue and implement all of it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think right now, for me, I find there's less white noise. I find I've got more time to contemplate my navel and ponder different aspects of the business that I'm involved in. And I quite appreciate that. I've grown to cherish that even in just a few weeks. I'm determined to not simply return to all of that noise and buzz that's going on, and to make the most of that breathing space I think we're all being afforded. Admittedly, I'm not homeschooling. So, although we have got the cats and dogs, so hey, it's similar, right?
It is a worry when your 7-year-old's like, so I don't understand this maths question. I'm like, neither do I.
That's right. Hey, Siri.
Oh dear. Yeah, that's why she missed school.
No shame in that. Well, certainly, it seems like you seem to, knowing you reasonably well these days, you look much more relaxed than you did a week or so ago. You've obviously got into the swing of it all with your members and so on. That's awesome, and well done to you. It's such a challenging time, but you've obviously found your groove, and that's good. And I guess we look forward to both yourself and Jess being at one of the live announcements for the Grand Slam 2020. Of course, the likelihood of that is it means you'll be doing it remotely via Zoom. Unfortunately, I can't believe restrictions will be lifted by then. But nonetheless, we look forward to yourself and Jess going up against, I don't know, Alethea and Khan, maybe? I don't know. No. Wouldn't do that to you. We'll find a similar pairing for you to go up against. But no, it's a pleasure. It's a joy to have you in our lives. It's a joy to have you involved in the Bay Games. I say that quite sincerely, you know that. And very much appreciate your time again today for this episode of the podcast. And it might not be your last, because I can imagine, like Ned and I and everyone else that we know, just being naturally attracted to you and appreciating who you are. So thank you very much for being you. And if people want to reach out to you and get in touch, how would they do that?
Yeah, so just on Instagram is the best way. So SwimFitChick is my personal one. And then if you just also look up Galvanized Fitness is my business. And then I can write back.
And that's the Galvanized with a Z, right? Because that's the American spelling? Or because of your maiden name, as I was quite rightly corrected earlier. No, Felicity, thank you ever so much. And look forward to chatting again in the future.
Well, there you have it. Thank you very much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell icon so you get notified every time we upload a new episode. And if you think that one of your training buddies would also enjoy this, go ahead and share it with them right now. Thank you once again, and we'll see you next time.